one thing I try not to do is try not to get too caught up in the media's hype, because the media, they have a job to do, and according to the media, their main thing is to follow the script. Now, they might go off the script once in a while, but they still have a script to follow. That's one thing about the media. And when it's talking to sports, it's the same thing when it comes to entertainment. When you hear Stephen A. Smith and Max and them guys talk, you got to take it with a grain of salt. And the reason why I say this is because you got to keep in mind, this is a sports network. And based on the fact it's a sports network, there are more than one particular sport that they're supposed to watch or talk about. There's no human in the world that can watch all 30-something games of NBA, football, baseball, and give their true concept or their true idea of what they think this team could do or where they're going. They have people that's in the background that actually watch and monitor these videos or these shows, these TV, these sports outlets, and they actually write down, basically like almost similar to like, like for instance, you got the Los Angeles Lakers, you got different places like, the different networks that support the Los Angeles brand that talks about the Lakers and stuff like that. So they get all the information from either those sources, or they have individuals that go out and get the sources material for them and put it before them, and they read off the source material before they actually go on air. These media analysts do not watch every game, so you got to take it with a grain of salt when they're talking. Some of them talk big, and a lot of fans, they quickly gravitate to these media outlets because they have a bigger platform. Me personally, always like the idea of going to social media and listen to some of these YouTubers or people who actually are more connected to the team than those who are not really connected to the team. With that being said, I want to talk about Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen A. Smith and Max came out and they were talking about the Lakers, about not landing a free agent. Stephen A. Smith states that if Magic Johnson doesn't land a free agent this offseason after the AD fiasco, he's blaming Magic Johnson for all the mishaps that's going on in the Lakers organization. Personally, and I'm saying this not just as a fan of the LA sport, but also as an observer, you cannot put it all on Magic. And the reason why I say that, LeBron James had to take fault as well. Alright, the reason why I'm stating this is because when you actually follow them, their tweets, their comments, and you listen and observe, and you look at it from a non-biased standpoint, you can basically see that LeBron has just as much as fault as Magic Johnson. Now, I know a lot of fans were upset, even me, to be honest with you, when the Lakers were trying to trade the whole team for Anthony Davis. But then I had to recall of me being upset and say, you know what, let me take a step back and remember what Magic Johnson tweeted before he became Vice President of Basketball Operations for the Los Angeles Lakers. When DeMarcus Cousins was actually, Sacramento was trying to shop him around, and Mitch and Jim decided not to let Brandon Ingram go for the Sacramento Kings for DeMarcus Cousins. Magic Johnson clearly tweeted that I would have traded all of them for DeMarcus Cousins. What is wrong with you guys? He constantly said in his tweets that, we need to go after KD when KD is a free agent. Not one time, but many times. LeBron James, he probably said it on 4 different occasions. He loves LeBron James. So we have to understand and have a clear way of thinking that at the end of the day that Magic Johnson was going to make these moves. I know a lot of us, we got too caught up in the hype, or we just were too connected to the young players that we just didn't want to see them go. Because, and I'm not saying just true fans, but fans period, we have 2 windows. A windows that we actually can be patient and wait to watch the young players grow, or the win now window. A lot of us gravitate to the patient and watch the young players grow window. A small few of us decided that, we want the win now window. But when you see the potential what these young players can do, and the ones that left and how they're still carrying on their respective teams, one comes to wonder, like, are we making a move too fast? Should we just wait and let the young players develop along with these veterans and not let LeBron James take the spotlight, as in, coming in and making drastic decisions about what's beneficial to the team? Now, LeBron James set the AD move in motion. Let's be honest. When they played Pelicans, they went out to eat. Where they with Rich Paul, and they talked about making that move. A week later, AD come out and states that, he wants to play for LA. He don't want to, he wants to be traded. So they all sat there and they talked about it. He set it in motion. Once he set it in motion, once AD stated that he wanted to be traded to LA, Magic Johnson antennas went off. We're going to go out and try to get him. Just like Vice President and GM, Rob Pelinka, what they're supposed to do. Now, based on the fact that New Orleans Pelicans were playing them the whole time because they won't wait to the offseason anyway to see what other teams got to offer, the Lakers started throwing in their whole roster just to see if this would, move New Orleans Pelicans altogether. Which to the effect it didn't work. Then that's when Stephen A. Smith will come out and state that, hey, if you don't make moves by the offseason, you don't get these such players, all these players coming out, being free agents, unrestricted free agents, stuff like that. We're going to blame you. We're going to blame you because you told us, this is what you told us, that, you're going to bring two free agents, two superstars here. Just by him getting LeBron James is already a one-up for the Los Angeles fan base. Regardless if we don't like LeBron, regardless if we have different opinions about how, we feel about it. At the end of the day, he still brought a superstar here. And not only brought a superstar here, but he got the superstar to buy in to whatever he was telling him to a 4-year contract. Now, keep in mind, when LeBron was with Cleveland, he was only on a 1-year contract. Besides, when he was with Miami, I think he did like a 4-year contract with them as well. But the point is, you got a 4-year window, really a 3-year window. I think LeBron's going to probably finish his career in Cleveland. That's just me, which makes sense. Only on the strength that, he's from Cleveland, but he got a lot of business here in LA, so it makes sense for him to come here. Now, the thing is, before we blame Magic Johnson, we have to blame LeBron. And the reason why I'm saying LeBron, because LeBron is known, he even stated himself that, I'm always recruiting. Okay? Now, he said that I'm always recruiting, I'm always looking to, bring superstars with me, which makes sense because everywhere he went, he basically had superstars come with him. Because when he first came to Cleveland, it was hard for them to even get superstars. They wasn't really, I guess they were just riding the LeBron James wave. They wasn't giving LeBron James what he wanted. So when LeBron James left, Cleveland understood, like, okay, damn, we made a mistake. We should have got him what he asked for. So when LeBron came back, they made all those moves in order to get him, a contender to contend against the West, which makes sense. The Lakers, for example, Magic Johnson, he tried to, trade all the players, which actually, to me personally, turned out to be a good thing because we didn't want him losing none of our young players. And now they got a chip on their shoulder, and I believe this All-Star break going forward, we're going to play even harder. Not for the like of getting LeBron to the playoff, but showing not just LeBron, but the world that we can play at an NBA level. Because a lot of fans keep saying that we are trash and this and that, but when we win, no one says anything for those that continue to hate on the young players. So LeBron James, let's keep this in perspective. Remember when Paul George stated that, when he was still in Indiana, he said if LeBron would just give me 2 years, if LeBron would just, say that he's going to stay, that he's going to resign with Cleveland, resign with Cleveland, I wouldn't mind going to Cleveland to play with him. Remember Paul George said that. He reached out to LeBron. LeBron James didn't sign. So that was the first turning point right there. LeBron James didn't sign. He didn't resign. So Paul George was like, okay, no problem. So here's the thing. Paul George made a statement, which you already know, that he wanted to come to LA. Now keep in mind, LeBron James said he's the master of, recruiting. Well, not the master, but he loves to recruit superstar players. So let's keep this in perspective. Paul George stated that he wanted to go to LA. Once LeBron James became a free agent at the end of the Cleveland season, the speculation was that he might go to LA. Come to find out, the speculations became true. The media, the Lakers fan base, everybody turned from Paul George quickly to LeBron James. Everybody forgot about Paul George. No one focused on Paul George at all. We all focused on LeBron James. And with that being said, we kind of like, Paul George was like basically an afterthought. We didn't give a hell about Paul George now. You don't believe me? Go back at the beginning of the season or before the season started, when opportunity for us to pick up players was being put in place. No one cared about Paul George. Everybody was focused on LeBron. That made Paul George feel some type of way. I told you guys in the last game that Westbrook is the alpha male. Paul George is like the semi-alpha male. He's not somebody that's going to take over the team yet. He's not that individual. Now, if you see him doing it this year, that's because Westbrook, as the alpha male, decided to take a seat back and let Paul George do his thing. Now, I'm going to share something with you guys. Before that took place, when Paul George wanted to go to LA, remember, OKC, Westbrook, threw a cookout for him. So after that, he signed on the dotted line. As soon as the opportunity was there, when it was I think with 12 o'clock midnight or whatever it was that, you know, the players could start signing. He signed right then and there because no one gave him, and that Lakers ain't to reach out to him. They didn't say, hey, we're going to try to get Paul George and LeBron James. It was all about LeBron James. So the recruiting was bad on LeBron James' part and the Lakers' part, because here's the thing. When you are a free agent, right? Or, matter of fact, let's be honest, these players have each other's phone number. They talk on the phone. You know, media doesn't cover everything. So, to be honest, LeBron James could have reached out to Paul George and say, hey, man, I'm going to L.A. I want you to come with us. You know, I want you to come here with me, and that's with his chip. You don't think that Paul George would have said no to him if he'd have reached out to him? No, he would probably just say, yeah, sure, man. You know what I mean? And then LeBron James would have made it happen. But the point is, nobody reached out to Paul George. Everybody was focused on LeBron James. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying that, you know, it's LeBron James' fault, but I just say that LeBron James has much fault in us picking up players just as much as the front office do. Like Magic Johnson, he always loved LeBron James. So, like I say, he was like a kid in the candy store. He focused on LeBron James. He forgot about Paul George. But LeBron James, knowing the situation, knowing that when he come here, he's going to be playing with a bunch of young players. But he also knew that Magic Johnson said that we're going to try to get another superstar to go along with you. To be honest with you, if LeBron would have actually reached out to Paul George at the beginning, before the free agent market opened up, Paul George probably would have made his decision a little bit more slowly. He probably wouldn't have made that quick decision to go with OKC, but because no one looked at Paul George, he felt like OKC treated me like with love. Lakers did not treat me with love. Nobody talked about me after LeBron. Once they got LeBron, the next thing they went on to was Kawhi Leonard. They were talking. Now, everybody think about it. When Paul George signed OKC, the big portion of the fan base started ripping Paul George apart. Going at Paul George saying, like, look at him, this, and that. But if you look at OKC now, you look at the Lakers. OKC right now, I think in the third place. Paul George is actually the leader of that team. Westbrook took in the seat back and allowed him to play. This is what I was talking about with LeBron James, and this is what I was hoping from LeBron James when he came to LA. Is that, you know, that for the simple fact that you're running with the young players, I thought that LeBron would probably take a seat back and help them develop this year, since we really wasn't doing nothing this year. Let's be honest, even if we got AD, our roster would be so diminished that we had to pick up people from the G League to actually fill in spots, and other free agents that actually are not playing in the league no more, in order to basically fill out our roster spot. So you have a whole nucleus of roster players, and only ones that really going to probably excel is only about 4 or 5 of the players, because you got to learn Luke Walton's system, if there is a Luke Walton system, which we do not know of. But the point is, you have to learn the LeBron James and Luke Walton system in order to make it effective, which meaning that they probably wind up barely making the playoff anyway, like they're going to do this year with the young players. But the best thing was for them to do is to actually develop the young players this year, and LeBron James take a seat back and watch these young players to develop, and then push towards the playoff. Then you take over when you get to the playoff. That's what I was hoping that he would do, but we did not go to that. Just like Magic Johnson told us that LeBron James we're going to help LeBron James learn low post moves so that we can change up the dynamics of how we're playing the scheme. Basically, LeBron James supposed to be the power forward, and his plays supposed to actually come out of the paint. That's the whole thing, is that they were supposed to taught LeBron James more low post moves in the paint, so that way Lonzo Ball will actually run the offense. But we kind of deteriorated from that, and now you see LeBron James running the offense. But I'm actually going off topic right there. But the thing is that before we blame Magic Johnson, we got to also blame LeBron, because LeBron James, and I do not knock him, he can recruit star players. But they actually forgot about Paul George. When the opportunity to call Paul George and talk, because remember, the front office can't talk to a player, until when players become free agents and they can actually start talking to other organizations. But player to player, even though under contract they ain't supposed to do that, but come on, let's be honest. These players talk to each other on the phone all the time. Chris Paul talked to LeBron James. Carmelo talked to LeBron James. Dwayne Wade talked to LeBron James. KD and LeBron James. LeBron James even stated that KD reached out to him about the toxic comment. They talked on the phone. So these players talk on the phone. So LeBron James, who's saying that he always recruiting, he forgot one thing. If he went out and recruited, like I said, if he went out and talked to Paul George, at least let Paul George know that, look, man, I want you to come to LA with me, we would be looking at a different Lakers team right now. With Paul George and LeBron James, we never see the young players. We never see the young players getting traded. Talking about getting traded before AD. Then again, it might have been still happening. If AD wanted to get traded. But the point is that we had Paul George and LeBron James. We were actually playing at a much more higher level, because now you got a defender. And not only that, we probably would have gave up some of our other players like Zubac, for example. But that's why I say I don't put all the blame on Magic. I put the blame on LeBron James as well. And that's where I stand. You know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm a Laker fan. It doesn't matter. But I just want to make sure I clear that up, because Stephen A. Smith trying to put all the pressure on Magic when Magic only can do so much. But LeBron James, he is a player, and the players talk to other players. He could have been doing the recruiting as well. Just like, for example, he wanted Carmelo. Think about it. You know, but the Lakers decided not to budge so far on Carmelo. But that's all I want to talk about. That you got to look at it from a different perspective. That LeBron James could have went out and actually talked to Paul George. Not saying that Paul George would have came to LA. We never know. But the point is, no one took the time out to talk to Paul George. Like I said, the front office couldn't talk to him because that would be tampering, because he was still under contract at that particular time. Whereas LeBron James could have reached out to him without the media getting in the middle of it, because they would never know. LeBron James could have talked to Paul George before the free agent market opened up, and we probably would see a different thing if LeBron would have reached out to him. But who's to say that LeBron didn't reach out to him? That's something that we don't know, because it's not talked about. So far, this is my opinion, and that's all I'm basically stating it off of, is that if LeBron would have reached out to Paul George, this would have been a different Lakers team. And I go off that. I'm just basically trying to let the media understand, well, not really the media, but the fan base understand that you can't put all the blame on the front office all the time. Sometimes you got to look at the players as well. These players are always recruiting. Kyrie Irving is recruiting. The Golden State Warriors, they went out in the parking lot to talk to KD to recruit him. You know, Greek Freak always talking about recruiting. So at the end of the day, you have to understand and realize these players have much more connection than the front office. So you got to look at the players as well as the front office, and not just put all the blame on the front office. With that being said, your man, Urban Lover, like, share, subscribe, get in the comment section, tell me what you think. Paul George is having a hell of a career, regardless if we don't like him or not. Regardless if we pissed off that he didn't come here, but the dude is having a hell of a career right now. Let's be honest. You know, he's actually playing freaking MVP status right now. I'm just got to give it to him. You know, and one thing I respect about Westbrook is that he's taking the seat back. If KD would did the same thing, actually, I guess they would have a conversation or whatever. That could have been KD right there, actually, what Paul George is doing right now. Westbrook taking the seat back and letting Paul George do his thing. That's the same way I look at the LA Lakers. Sometimes you got to, humble yourself and take a seat back and let the young players develop and help them develop and make so. Because the thing is, you're going to need them young players. Michael Jordan had to understand that he needed Scottie Pippen in order to beat the Detroit Pistons. All right, let's keep that in perspective. Michael Jordan scored 50, 80 points. It doesn't matter. The point is that he needed somebody else to help him. Scottie Pippen came in the league, wasn't some top-notch player. Look at his stats. Michael Jordan got him to start playing pretty good. And look what happened to him and Scottie. Now, Scottie is a legend. Sometimes you got to build within what you already have. Actually, Golden State Warriors. With that being said, your man, Urban Love, like, share, subscribe, get in the comment section, tell me what you think. Love you guys. As always, please be safe out there. These streets don't love no one.